Hello and thank you for joining us for our news bulletin. My name is Tandy Wemzamara. Let's have a look at our top stories.
Pope Francis denounces persecution of Christians in Democratic Republic of Congo. Government assures Malawians that plane crash investigation findings will be made available to the public. In sports, Malawi National Council of Sports announces the resumption of sporting activities. And in other news, UN warns of worsening rebel activity in Central African Republic amid Sudan conflict.
We have the details to these stories and more. Just stay with us. Pope Francis has appealed to the Democratic Republic of Congo DRC authorities and to the international community to do everything possible to stop violence in the eastern part of the country and protect civilians. The Holy Father has also asked for prayers for peace in all countries rocked by war like Ukraine, Myanmar and Sudan, among others. We have more details in this Vatican News report read by Charity Chilanga.
Speaking after the Angelus prayer on Sunday, Pope Francis raised an appeal for the safeguard of civilians in eastern DRC, where numerous attacks have taken place in the past weeks. Before launching his plea, the Pope noted the painful news of clashes and massacres continues to arrive from the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, appealing to the national authorities and the international community to do everything possible to stop the violence and safeguard the lives of civilians, whom he noted among the victims, many are Christians. Describing them as martyrs, the Holy Father went on to say their sacrifice is a seed that germinates and bears fruit, teaching us to bear witness to the gospel with courage and consistency. Pope Francis also asked those following the Angelus prayer to continue to pray for other violence striking peoples in Ukraine, the Holy Land, Sudan, Myanmar, and wherever people suffer from war. The attacks in North Kivu news agencies and local authorities reported that between 42 and 80 people were killed in a series of attacks on villages in Beni territory, allegedly perpetrated by Allied Democratic Forces, ADF rebels. The attacks between 4 to 7th May came in the wake of the other such killings in the past 2 weeks, during which the assailants also stole motorcycles and set fire to houses during their incursions. African news agency says the populations of the villages attacked by the rebels fled their homes to take refuge in Kasaba, in the western part of the city of Beni, and in Mabarako, where the General Reference Hospital is reportedly overwhelmed with patients, including the injured. Since May 3rd, the Civil Society of Beni territory reports that 123 civilians have been killed in various attacks attributed to ADF rebels in the Babakombe, Pendekari region, in Mangina, Mantumbi, Kudukudu, Kamango, and Beumanyama. The ADF, which is now based in eastern Congo, has pledged allegiance to the Islamic State and mounts frequent attacks, further destabilizing a region where many militant groups are active. Separately, DRC authorities are also battling the Rwanda-linked M23 rebels, who also mostly operate in the eastern region of the country.
Misa Malawi has applauded the mainstream media in the coverage of the funeral ceremonies of the Vice President Dr. Salos Klaus Chilima and 8 others. In a statement released today, signed by its chairperson Gordon Matonga, Misa Malawi has noted that the media professionally and successfully provided up-to-date and accurate information. Charity Chilanga has filed this report.
Mr. Malawi chairperson Gordon Matonga has expressed gratitude in the mainstream media, saying it was able to provide timely updates and verified information during the period. He notes that the media sacrificed both individual journalists and media outlets' time and other resources to ensure that listeners, viewers, and readers across the world get access to accurate and relevant information throughout the week. Matonga has also commended government, families of the deceased, security agencies, and all stakeholders for according the media an opportunity to operate in a free environment throughout the period.
You may recall that when the news came that the country's vice president and 8 others were involved in a tragic aircraft accident, we communicated to the members of the general public, particularly appealing to the members of the media fraternity to ensure that their reporting of the incident should meet the values of responsibility and duties that as journalists we bear. And we are grateful that after burial of all the people who were involved in the accident, we have observed that the reporting by the journalists and their media houses met our expectations. They strive to ensure that they were professional and ethical in the manner that they discharged their duties. And for that reason, we want to salute our colleagues for their tireless efforts for ensuring that the country was provided information in a timely and professional manner.
Ever since it was reported that a plane carrying late Vice President Dr. Saulos Chilima and 9 other passengers crashed in Chikangawa Forest Reserve in Mzimba district on June 10, 2024. The media has been in forefront covering every moment of it, including when Chilima and the other passengers were reported dead after the plane's wreckage was found on June 11, 2024, until their funeral services.
Farmers in Kuala Irrigation Scheme, located in Kachocho Village under Traditional Authority Kachocho in Mchinji, are now reaping the benefits of reinvestment in agribusiness following successful harvests. Simon Dyson, the scheme's chairperson, told Luntha Television that support from the NCA DCA-funded Nansen project implemented by Total Land Care provided the farmers with modern farming expertise and essential farm inputs leading to improved yields. The project, named Faith in Farmers, Boosting Local Production for Food Security in Malawi, is funded by NORAD through Nansen. It addresses interconnected challenges of food insecurity, poverty, and climate change. Implemented over a year in the districts of Mchinji, Kasungu, Dowa, and Chikwawa, the project aims to enhance food security and resilience against climate change. According to ACT Alliance's country director, Stefan Johnson, the organization's commitment to improving the livelihoods of Malawians remains steadfast through its partnerships. Government has assured Malawians that results of investigations into the plane crash which claimed the lives of Vice President Dr. Saulos Chilima and 8 others will be made available to the family and the public. Minister of Information Moses Kunkuyu made the sentiments earlier today during a press conference at the Office of the President and Cabinet OPC in Lilongwe, aimed at giving a roundup of events leading to and after the burial ceremonies of the late Dr. Saulos Chilima and 8 others. Charity Shilanga was there.
In his remarks, Kunkuyu said consultations are underway on the launch of an investigation into the cause of the plane crash which claimed the lives of the country's Vice President, Saulos Chilima, and 8 others. Kunkuyu said the president would like to have a comprehensive understanding of the events at Shigangawa in Mzimba, emphasizing that this approach will enhance transparency and accountability. Among other things, Kunkuyu expressed his gratitude to Malawians, foreign government organizations, police, Malawi Defense Force, the Roman Catholic Church, Airtel Malawi, Telecom Networks Malawi TNM, and the media for their unwavering commitment and dedication during the funeral ceremony of the Vice President and 8 others. Additionally, Kunkuyu disclosed that President Lazarus Chakwera has cancelled his trip to South Africa for the swearing-in of President Cyril Ramaphosa and has instead delegated Minister of Foreign Affairs Nancy Tembo to represent him as he mourns the tragic death of the Vice President.
Government is looking forward to finding an independent investigation to help shed more light on what may have happened on that fateful day leading to the crash of that aircraft that caused the death of our esteemed NICE compatriots, including the Vice President. Therefore, the government at this moment would like to call for calm and responsibility from all Malawians as we continue to honor the legacy of this great son of the soil taken from us.
On June 10, 2024, a plane carrying Chilima and 8 others crashed in Chikangawa Forest Reserve in Mzimba district. Departing from Lilongwe and unable to land at Mzuzu Airport due to poor visibility, the plane was redirected to Lilongwe, but crashed before reaching its destination. The wreckage was discovered on June 11, 2024, confirming the deaths of Chilima and all passengers on board.
You're still watching news coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center, but before we proceed, let's have another look at the headlines.
Pope Francis denounces persecution of Christians in Democratic Republic of Congo. Government assures Malawians that plane crash investigation findings will be made available to the public. In sports, Malawi National Council of Sports announces the resumption of sporting activities. And in other news, UN warns of worsening rebel activity in Central African Republic amid Sudan conflict.
Proceeding with the news, the Department of Immigration and Citizenship Services is set to repatriate 238 irregular immigrants who were in the northern region prisons. According to Sergeant Francis Chitamburi, Public Relations Officer for Northern Region Immigration Office, most of the immigrants entered the country using uncharted routes, an act that triggered their arrest, prosecution, and conviction, henceforth repatriation to Ethiopia. Chitambuli went further to disclose that with funding from International Organization for Migration, IOM, officers from the Department of Immigration and Citizenship Services, in collaboration with IOM officials, conducted a verification exercise of the irregular immigrants at Mzimba and Mzuzu prisons, respectively, in May 2024, which was later followed by a process of issuing traveling documents back to Ethiopia. Here is part of what Chitambuli had to say.
The development is part of enforcement and compliance of immigration laws in the country, and the repatriation process is one of the after arrest resolutions that any person contravening immigration laws is subjected to. Others face jail term, others face deportation, and this time around, after jail term sentence, repatriation was ideal.
In sports, the Malawi National Council of Sports has announced the resumption of all sporting activities in the country. The activities were temporarily suspended following the tragic demise of the country's Vice President, Dr. Salos Klaus Chilima, and eight other Malawians in a plane crash last week, Monday. Brendan Mwanza has more of the details.
The Malawi National Council of Sports said the suspension was aimed at giving the sporting family a chance to join the nation in mourning the death of the state vice president after President Lazarus Chakwera declared 21 days mourning period. In a statement released today, the council's chief executive officer, Henry Kamata, has advised. In a statement released today, the council's chief executive officer, Henry Kamata, has advised the sports associations to continue honoring the memory and legacy of the departed by embodying the spirit of peace, unity, and excellence in their sporting activities. Kamata has also expressed the council's deepest gratitude to all sporting associations and affiliates for their respectful observance of the guidance to suspend all sporting activities during the sad moment. One of the council's affiliates, Super League of Malawi Sulom, announced last week that it will revise the 2024 Super League fixture and consider the introduction of midweek games to catch up with the 2024 football calendar. For the Super League competition, this will be a 10th week for the games to be played. Currently, Silver Strikers are leading the log table with 25 points. Camus Barracks on second position with 18 points, while Mzuzu City Hammers are on third position with 16 points, all from 9 games.
Now, in other news, UN experts have, through a new report, warned of increased activities of armed groups in the volatile Central African Republic, complicating a security landscape that has seen a spillover of the conflict in neighboring Sudan. The panel of experts cite confirmed reports of air raids by the Sudanese military around border areas and of fighters from the rival paramilitary rapid support forces crossing over to recruit from armed groups in the Central African Republic. We have more details in this African news report read by Phyllis Shizombe.
Sudan plunged into conflict in mid-April 2023 when long-simmering tensions between its military and paramilitary leaders broke out in the capital, Khartoum. Fighting spread to other regions including Darfur, which borders the Central African Republic's northeast Vakaga region. The UN says over 14,000 people have been killed and 33,000 injured in the Sudan fight. The expert panel, which monitors sanctions on mercenaries and armed groups in the Central African Republic, said the UN had registered almost 10,700 Sudanese refugees who had fled across the border by late March. It said 565 new refugees, the vast majority of women and children, arrived at the Kos refugee camp in the northern city of Bimilao every week. The war in Sudan has also disrupted the important trade and transportation route between the Central African Republic and Sudan's Darfur region through the border at Darfur, leaving people in Vakaga and neighboring Haut Koto more insecure over the past year and aid deliveries slower and more expensive. The Central African Republic remains one of the poorest countries in the world, despite its vast mineral wealth, including gold and diamonds. Rebel groups have operated with impunity across the country over the past decade, thwarting mining exploitation by foreign companies.
And that also brings us to the end of what we had for you in this edition of our news bulletin. But before we leave, here's a reminder of our top stories.
Pope Francis denounces persecution of Christians in Democratic Republic of Congo. Government assures Malawians that plane crash investigation findings will be made available to the public. In sports, Malawi National Council of Sports announces the resumption of sporting activities. And in other news, UN warns of worsening rebel activity in Central African Republic amid Sudan conflict.
My name is Tandi Winzumara. Thank you for keeping me company, and do remember that you can also catch these stories and many others by following us on our Facebook page, Luntha Television, and of course also on YouTube, Luntha TV. Goodbye for now, and just stay safe.